Yeah, it was quite a big task for us because when we moved from Evolution 3 to version 5, there was kind of a number 4 in the middle that we were going to release, and then COVID came along. So we decided, okay, we will continue developing, and then we kind of scrapped the version 4 and jumped straight to version 5. And we wanted to, I mean, the Evolution 3 line was considered to be, you know, the best on the market. And then we wanted to kind of go really a long way past it, because what is the point of releasing a new line if it's not dramatically better than its predecessor? Otherwise, we're just taking an old thing and putting it in a new chassis, and that's very insincere. And that's not what we're about. We're about innovation. We're about honesty, integrity. We're about giving you the best we can continually, not just in product, but in service and support. So when we came to the version 5, we dramatically redesigned critical parts that we use in our circuits. So if you were to buy, for example, an Aquarius, say 70% of the components on the circuit board in terms of value are unique to us. We've designed them, we fabricate them in the UK under very high tolerances and conditions. Well, we doubled the amperage of those critical components. First of all, we redesigned the topology of the circuit to make it even better than it was. We increased the copper loading fourfold, 4 times as much. Now, we already use more copper than our competitors, normally 4 to 6 times as much as industry standard. So we have a very low direct current resistance throughout the whole of the design. The high current side of the product, again, was improved dramatically. So we give power more immediately, more accurately. We improved the thermomagnetic fusing, the way that works. The LED circuit was also dramatically improved. We're using internal wiring. We import the conductors from Japan because that's the only place that we can get Ono continuous cast copper. It's referred to as single crystal. So it's the highest purity of copper you can get. But not satisfied with that, we then silver plate it. And not satisfied with that, we then wrap a helix of FEP Teflon around it, the conductor, and then extrude FEP Teflon over the top, creating a dielectric, which is virtually air. So even the internal wiring is of the absolute highest grade you can possibly imagine. So this is what we did to make version 5 so special. And it really is. And in fact, I was asked by English journalist Alan Sercombe of Hi-Fi Plus magazine. This magazine is owned by the Absolute Sound. Remember the Absolute Sound? It was created by Harry Pearson, an American journalist of famous notoriety. So a magazine with great heritage and reliability and honesty. And so Alan said, I'd love to do an exclusive on the V5 Aquarius. And I said, I have no problem with that, but I have one condition, and that is that I send you Evolution 3 and version 5. And he said, yes, but we don't want to do Evolution 3. We've done it. I said, I know you have, but I want you to be able to compare what was the past and what is the future. And of course they did. And they understood immediately why I wanted that to happen, because it was important that the journalists knew that we hadn't taken the old circuit and just put it in a wonderful new piece of design. And incidentally, I'm also very proud of the design of the version 5 products. It's very, very nice. It's seamless. It's kind of got this kind of timeless origin of kind of Raymond Loewy streamlining of the 50s, 60s. So I'm very proud with the design. but also the performance as well. I think the most rewarding is always when you get those emails. We get quite a few where people say, thank you. And we're thinking, wow, I would have never have thought my system could have sounded so good by just changing one component. Well, not really changing, but adding a component to enhance all of the other components. And it's really gratifying to be appreciated. It's like anything. I mean, we all go through the world working hard, trying to do our very best, and when someone recognizes that and, takes the time to either call you or send you an email or write a letter, very rare these days, but when it happens, it's really, you feel good about it. And we really do try our very hardest to produce really, really high quality products to the best we can. And when that's recognized through an end user who's bought the product, really, really being so very happy about it, that makes everything worthwhile. So I'm going to kind of answer this question a little bit controversially. I said at the beginning that if you haven't done anything to improve your input power, you're probably listening to 75-80% of your investment. And I would typically say you should be spending 20% on an IsoTek power cleaning system for your system's value. And if you're only getting 80% out of your system anyway, the product pays for itself, because then you get 100%. And if you've invested 20,000 and you're only listening to potentially 15 to 16,000, then spending 4,000 on an IsoTek product would be a big investment. And something like a $20,000 system would benefit from something like a Cygnus. The version 5 Cygnus would be a great product to use. And later, put in the version 5 Titan for the power amps. These products make such a huge improvement on things. I was at a dealership in Stockholm, in Sweden, many years ago now, and it was right around the time that we released the Super Titan. Now, the Super Titan is one of our flagship models, capable of running at 8,000 watts or delivering 8,000 watts of continuous clean power for power amps and so on and so forth. And at the time, it was the most expensive product we made in our range. And so I went into the dealership in Sweden, and their top sales guy said, wow, your Super Titan is such a bargain. It's too cheap. And I went, what? Wait, bargain? Bargain is something that you would associate as a cheap thing that you buy when you exit the supermarket, right, on the shelf just before checkout. And I said, really? Why do you think that? Because that kind of fascinated me. He said, look, let me explain it simply for you. He said, these monoblock amps from America over here, these are 80,000 euros. And you see this model here, same company, these ones are only 50,000. He said, but with your Super Titan, that costs around 10, 15,000, I can make the 50,000 amps sound twice as good as the 80,000 amps. Say 80,000 euro power monoblock amps. So for me, this is a bargain. Think about it. You've invested, the other example was 100,000. So you've invested 100,000. For very little money extra, you can get massive improvements out of that investment. It's really crazy. Power, as I said before, it's the first input, and the quality of the power that you feed your electronics, especially high-end, ultra-performing electronics, you get such a big improvement. It really does pay for itself, and it also protects your investment as well. So, would you build a skyscraper and worry about the gold tap in the top bathroom if your skyscraper didn't have any foundations at all? It would be like the Leaning Tower of Pisa, right? It would eventually fall over. So, critical. Build the foundations of a great sounding audio system. Invest in the power line. IsoTek can provide that. Yes, it really is that important. You don't have to believe what I've said. The choice is yours. But what I would say to you is keep an open mind. Please go into your local dealership, try an IsoTek, take it home, make your own judgment. I think you'll be quite surprised. Thank you ever so much for your time. Thank you for listening. Thank you for Tang Tong Audio for supporting us in the Vietnamese market.